Hey YouTube, today I'm going to make a tier list for cards when playing at the higher difficulties when you have a shot clock. Let's start. So hit check, I would say A tier or maybe even S. I prefer builds with the low cost or zero cost cards, so having to deal with on fire, keep getting more and more expensive is can be a problem, so I'm just gonna say A tier. Let's see, Hero Ball, well, maybe useful for hindrance builds if you got like clutch and persistence. Next man up mentality, it can provide a lot of card draw, but there are some hindrances which really hurt your deck, and ever since I added the 10 card hand limit, it's been a problem, so I'm gonna say C tier. Hook shot, unstoppable, 2 points, no card draw, so let's say B tier. Highlight reel is really useful when you're at home to get quick noise, otherwise not so much. It removes, so it doesn't take much space, but there are better cards for noise, so this is much more useful in the early matches, so I think I'm gonna give it a B tier because of that. Huddle, very useful when you don't have a shot clock, otherwise it's like not that useful. I think I'm gonna go with C tier. Illegal defense is S tier. Basically you get especially in the late game, second half of the season, when computer can stack like 10 or 12 cards, and you can get basically for one action of yours you get 12 points or something like that. I even tried, you can basically beat the game with illegal defense and a bunch of old school and signature moves, and just score like so many points without timer even moving, so S tier for sure. Let's see, jab step, useful in the early game, so I'm gonna say B tier. Jack of all trades is S tier in my opinion. I mean, you get to draw many cards, you get to play underdog for one, and if you got something like show and go and play this turn one, then you can set up your deck very quickly. You can also remove up to 5 cards which you don't want, so if you still haven't got free agent, this is really useful. Jump ball, very useful for computer, not for you, so I'm gonna go with the C tier. This is layup, you want to remove this as fast as possible, you don't need it. Leadership is somewhat useful, but I tend to prefer not stacking too many cards, because illegal defense from computer, and also it just takes away your focus from scoring and defending, so I'm gonna go with C tier with this one. Load management is S tier, it's instant, and you get stamina next turn, and you get card draw, so one of the best cards. This one is like, I mean, it's okay, low pass, but I really don't think it's, it takes turns to do it, to build the deck, and even then you get maybe Euro step or something to remove the cost, but it just takes too many turns to play. I'm gonna go with D tier. Mascot, somewhat useful, but you have to keep playing it and playing it. There are better cards like highlight reel, so I'm gonna go with I think D tier for this one, maybe C tier. Okay, mastermind coach, this one we don't need, that's and this one, those are for the difficulty levels images, not for cards. So mastermind coach, very useful to set the high cost cards like underdogs on defense, next man up mentality to 0, especially if you get starters, or show and go. So I'm gonna go with B tier for this one, or maybe even A, I don't know, let's go with B. Next man up mentality allows you to draw cards when you play free throws and when you remove the hindrances, so I'm thinking A tier or S. I think S tier for this one. So this is offensive rebound, I think pretty much useless in late games, so no. Old school, very useful. You can grab legal defense back, you can grab double team back if you accidentally lose it, you can call for mastermind coach again, so I'm gonna just add it here. On fire you cannot really get, you get it through hit check, so I can just place it next to hit check. Okay, open tree, somewhat useful, 1 cost, nice in the early season, it can be useful in the near the end as well. It's not unstoppable though, so let's say B tier. Okay, this is a hindrance and one that out of bounds, so really bad card, we don't need that. Pass, now I plan an update where you will be able to upgrade blocks, passes, and maybe some other cards to be instant, but for now in the late game I think you should aim for other ways to reduce card cost, like I don't know, jab step, crossover, jack of all trades, underdog, and or just get a lot of stamina through load management. So I think this is D tier. I don't care. Let's see, perimeter defense. I think it can be useful. So let's give it I don't know, B or even A. I mean, it's a defense card, so it's easy to discard. I'm gonna go with B tier. Okay. Let's see, persistence. So that's a nice one, I think. I mean, it keeps drawing cards. It's bad if it draws, you know, a brick into your hand, but it can be really useful. I'm gonna go with B tier on hindrance, on persistence. This is a pick and roll for me, like, I don't know, C tier maybe, and pick and pop is maybe a little bit better. So no, wait, we're gonna go pick and roll D tier, pick and pop C tier. Okay. Plan ahead is instant, gives you potentially a lot of stamina, so very useful with cards like Coast to Coast, but it takes one slot in your draw, so it does have that negative thing, but it can help you create a lot of stamina. So I'm gonna go with B tier. What is this? Post up. So post up is pretty much useless, and now we have pump fake. So I prefer just to have up and under and don't care about pump fake. So I'm gonna place pump fake in C tier, and I'm gonna place right away. We're gonna go with up and under, which is I think, well, basically A or B. Let's place it as A for now. Rebound is a starter card. It takes, you know, turns, so nope. Recovery is very good. Support card. If you want to play underdog, you can just keep it in your hand until you play underdog. So I'm gonna give it like, I think, A tier. Scouting can allow you to get some good cards, like up and under. If you don't have it, an opponent does. So it's very, you know, it depends from round to round. I'm gonna give it a B tier. Shooting drill, mostly useless because it takes a slot in your draw and it does give you energy, but if you don't have a lot of shots, it can be useless. It also discards other cards, so it's cool if you discard like shot clock violations, but it also discards timeouts, recovery, other important cards. So I think I'm gonna give it C tier. Shot clock violation is horrible. Show and go is like A tier support card. It allows you to set up underdog, you know, even next man up mentality, jack of all trades early. So great card. Signature move also, I think if I placed old school there, signature move's gotta be there as well. So it allows you to have duplicates of important cards, like, you know, even next man up mentality, or some unstoppable shots, or, you know, load management. So this is a really important card. Sixth man, I don't like this one so much. I mean, it gives you a card draw if you don't have shots, so it's worse than, I think, jab step. So let's give it C tier. Okay. I'm not a big fan of skip pass. It takes time to set up corner trees, and by the time they pay off, like, it's really small payoff. So I'm gonna give it D tier. Splash is just a little bit better than a 3-pointer. It's more expensive than open tree, so we're gonna place it in C. Steal, I think steal is pretty much useless, but in the early games it can give you some needed stamina, so let's give it a C tier. Step back, once again, knee setup. You need to have a stoppable shot in your hand, so it's kind of iffy. I'm gonna go with C tier as well. This is a killer card. This substitution is S tier. Definitely, you can draw multiple double teams, unstoppable shots, whatever cards you need. If you get like 3 substitutions, you can really, like, in the short deck, you can really, you know, decide which cards will you play instead of what comes to your hand. So super fans, if upgraded, it can be great. It can make you control the opponent noise, but you need a bunch of, you know, upgrades. Let's say B tier. Okay, superstar, good in the early game. Later, well, it can be useful as well. I think I'm gonna go with B tier for this one. Tactics, this one, you really know how to play this one. It's complicated to play. It can be really useful, but you need to have a really good plan. So let's say maybe not D, but C tier. This one, I don't know, man. I mean, it's taunt, so you get some noise, but the opponent gets the opponent gets technical free throw, so it's 3 point. Basically, you give away point for some noise. I don't like it. C tier. Technical free throw, one of my favorite cards for this one. I'm gonna go A tier. It draws a card, gives a point, and you score. Wait, it scores 1 point, draws 1 card, And it's instant. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So basically a 3-point, and if you can get a lot of those with illegal defense, then I could even place it here with illegal defense. I don't know. Let's do that, okay? Because this is the same thing basically. Okay, a regular 3-pointer is useful. Not as useful as splash, but still, if you can get it to be unstoppable, yeah, I think we can do like where do we place the regular 3-pointer? Here. It's a little bit better than layup, that's for sure. Timeout, not really useful, but you know, it takes one space in hand limit, but otherwise you get noise when you need it, when you get stamina when you need it. So I'm gonna say like B tier. Triangle offense, useful to get cards like coast to coast, otherwise not so much. It's luck based, so I'm gonna go with C tier. Triple double, well, this one depends a lot on how do you want to play. If you want to play high stamina cards, you know, so you go with the heat check and you do plan aheads, coast to coast, double stuff like that, then this can be a killer, you know. But I prefer zero or low cost decks, so I don't like it that much. So let's give it a B tier. Turnover can create problems for computer, so let's give it a C tier. I think it has some uses, especially if you make a hindrance build. This is your main card. Okay, underdog is definitely S tier. No discussion there. It can be also, if you get it early, you might get events to upgrade the draw from 4 to 5 or 6 or even 7. And if you use substitutions, then, and you know, load management, you're gonna get draws anyway, and with the next man up mentality. So this kind, I prefer to have this kind of deck, and then some pickings from lower tiers. Zone defense, I'm gonna go A tier. It allows you to draw cards when you play double team. Also, you can play like a lot of deflections, but not on coach difficulty, because, you know, for one deflection, you lose one of your actions, so not good. But for, you know, you can play blocks, you can play double team, and this is really important. So analytics, once again, if you can obtain draw from these two instant cards, then you don't really need it, but otherwise it's useful. So we're gonna go A tier. And one is just a free throw. So, I mean, it's useful, but you don't really get it. So let's say we're gonna put it here. Assistant coach, I don't really like this one. It usually draws a card when I don't want to, and oftentimes it makes me lose double team and other cards that are removed and held. So I'm gonna go C tier. Backward violation is absolutely, I think, the worst card in the game. You don't want that one, even when hindrance builds. Behind the back pass, I mean, could be useful in early season, not later. And this is backup point guard, which I think is the same. I mean, you can get some cards if you really want them this way, but it's too random. So we're gonna go with C tier. This is ball hog, I think. Is this ball hog? Let me check. This is ball hog. So you get 3 shots. This is actually useful. So you are guaranteed to get shots. So we're gonna do it here. Same for behind the back pass, which is even a little bit better, because it's sticky and you can use it whenever you want. So I'm gonna go with B tier for this one. I don't like the fact it costs 1 and it takes 1 of your actions, so that's a problem. But let's see. Bench warmer can be useful to remove things you don't need, especially if you don't have jack of all trades yet. But you know, it still creates problem with your rotation. So I'm gonna say it's a little bit better than cleanup. So we're gonna place that here, and we're gonna place cleanup here. Okay, block is a great card, but the uses are, you know, somewhat limited, because you do get noise, but you still trade like 1 for 1. I mean, computer has enough stamina to play almost everything. So let's do B tier. I think I still like it. Boxing one, not that useful, so we're gonna go with C. Box out, pretty much useless in this late season, you know, when you every action is important and you don't want rebounds anyway. So brick, really useful card to give to your opponent, so not to get it. Buzzer beater, I think it's marginally better than, well, I think it's the same as tree and splash, because, you know, it gives you more noise, but you lose cards. No, not really that good. Circle shot gives you a timeout, so that's useful. I think it should be in the same rank as timeout, basically. Clog the paint is useful, especially if I add a way to make it instant in the future. I'm not sure about that. I think it could be OP if that is allowed, although it gets removed from the stack. So let's give it B tier. Clutch. Now, clutch is better to me than persistence. But still, you know, you got next one up mentality that does the same job anyway. So I'm gonna put clutch in A tier, or should I? I think I'm gonna put clutch in B tier. I'm gonna move the persistence to C tier because clutch gives you more control when you do it. Code challenge, I don't know about this one. I mean, it's useful, but not that much. It gives you noise for stacked cards, but you know, the noise battle is won by scoring a lot. So stuff like super team, super fans is just much more impactful. Coast to coast. Okay, for high stamina builds, this one is like really important. I'm gonna go with, I think I'm gonna go with A tier maybe even. Let's see what's in A tier. No, it's not A tier. Okay, it's gonna be B tier. B tier for coast to coast. This one is pretty much useless when the turns are limited, and when you lead, you just, you know, you have a card that takes space, so no. This is the same thing, so let's do this. This one is a noise card that is pretty much useless, and this one as well. Let's see, control dribble. I think computer players have more use for this than the human players. I think it's pretty much useless in Shotclock limited games, so we're gonna go D tier. Corner tree is actually better than, yeah, I think corner tree should go here. I mean, they get cleared with bricks, so that can create problems, but they're still, I don't know, better than these, I think. Or are they? I mean, clearing them with bricks can be a problem if computer has double team. Okay, we're getting close to end. Crossover is nice, although you should be able to draw a lot of cards without it. So I think I'm gonna go with B tier, although I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm gonna go with B tier. Okay, what we got? Deep Tree. Deep Tree is one of my favorite scoring cards. It's unstoppable by default. It costs 4, and it's gonna go into A tier. Let me just, yeah. So this is my favorite shot in late game builds. It's unstoppable. It costs 4, but I play underdog or jack of all trades anyway. So we're gonna go with. I tend to have all my, you know, all my shots are deep trees or upgraded, you know, splashes or trees that are unstoppable. But with this one, you get it by default. You don't have to wait for an event to upgrade it. So deflection can be useful actually, and in the mid to late game, you can use deflections to fill the opponent's stack with garbage. So I'm gonna go B tier. This one is useful in, I don't know, early to mid game. Not sure. Let me see what do we got till the end. We got a lot of cards still. So this is a stamina card that just sits there, which is basically similar to Superstar. So let's do that. Double double is very useful with coast to coast, so I think they should go together. Okay, now double team, probably the most important card. No, it doesn't go there. It's like S tier. I mean, this card, if you play it right, can determine win or lose in the final matches of the coach difficulty. You just have to watch the opponent draw pile very carefully to see how many shots they have and how many double teams you want to insert there to prevent them, because for this one card played, you can stop anywhere from 0 to 6 shots maybe. So let's say the average is 2 or 3, so that's a great deal. I mean, for block you stop 1 shot, for deflection you take 1 slot in the draw, but with double team you can stop like 2 or 3 shots on a regular basis, which is like, I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7 points every turn. So that means a lot. That can be a decisive card. It's a little bit hard to play. You have to be careful not to lose it. That's why you have old school. But yeah, and it's hard to play it if you have 2 copies with signature move, because, you know, if they keep coming one after another with something like zone defense, then you usually have both of them in the hand at all times, and you're gonna lose one. But it's S tier for sure. Okay, drive. I mean, you get a shot and a free assist most likely, but it takes one action. So I'm gonna go with similar to pass, not really that useful. Dunks are just your starting card. Empty the bench. Actually, this is similar to the bench warmers, so it's gonna go in the same place. I mean, they're very similar. They can be useful to clear out the deck, you know, much better than clean up. So let's place them here. This card is pretty much useless unless you manage to upgrade the Superstar. So I don't know. Let's give it a C tier. I think it's useful. It removes, so you don't lose that much. And if you can upgrade your deluxe locker rooms or your your superstar, then it can be useful. Eurostep, yeah, pretty much kind of useful, but not. Fadeaway jump shot is unstoppable. It's 2 or 3 points, so it's kind of like a hook shot maybe. Where did I place the hook shot? Oh, I placed it in B tier. So I think this is a little bit better than hook shot actually, so we're gonna place it in B tier. Okay, this is floater. Floater is actually maybe even better. So I think I maybe should move all these shots back. No. So floater is definitely better than hook shot. Actually, I think it's A tier because you draw cards and you often get this one early, so you get upgrade to draw 2. So you score 2 points and draw 2 cards usually, or sometimes 3 cards, and it can, you know, help with card draw if you don't have other stuff. It's a only shot that draws cards, but it only scores 2. So I used to love floaters and win games on like star and superstar difficulty in full season, but with coach difficulty you really have to score 3 pointers. So you can combine this. You can have like 2 deep trees and 1 floater, and I think, you know, deep tree is more important, but floater is very, very useful. This is just your fast break. You get stamina, but that's it. I mean, I can place it here. It's a little bit better than rebound, but that's it. Foul, you can use this with because this is instant now, so you can use it with zone defense. You can fill the opponent deck with free throws, which score less, although they are completely unstoppable. So let's say C tier. Okay, this is one of the most important cards, so this goes to S tier. Free agent is basically the way to clear your deck from the cards you don't need. You can duplicate it with signature move. You can play old school to get it back, so you can remove anywhere from 1 to 4 or 5 cards in a single match. So don't worry about taking, you know, some B tier, C tier card during the season, early season. You take those cards to win. Once you get free agent and you get S tier, A tier cards, you will just clear this out and just have a nice short clean deck with good cards. So free agent is, I think, a must if you want to win on coach difficulty. What do we get here? We got the regular free throw. We got let's see, a regular free throw. I mean, come on. Oh, sorry, first this free food. So free food gives upgrades to your super fans, and your deep trees. So this one is really important. I think even A tier, because you can control the noise. You have a bunch of these, maybe even copy it with signature move, and or through old school or scouting, and you can play a bunch of these and just, you know, control the noise completely, which is important. Okay, goaltending, of course, gonna go here. Let's see what else we got. We got full court pass, which I think should be B tier. I mean, not everyone plays only up and under like I do, and this one allows you to remove a defense before team cards. So the computer cards I find that hurt me the most are zone defense and coast to coast, definitely. So if I can remove zone defense with you know, a bunch of yellow team cards stacked before it, it's great. So I think even maybe move this to A tier, although up and under is much better. So I think I'm gonna keep it in B tier. It's basically similar to these cards in power. Yeah, okay. So what do we got here? We got full court pressure, which is okay for defensive builds until you play underdog or something, so it can be useful. And we're gonna go with all free throws here in B tier. And this is basically my list for, you know, for the winning deck for your coach difficulty full season. I think I'm gonna make another tier list for, you know, easier difficulties, which will focus more on you know, stamina draw cards, because you don't have shot clock limits. But these are for late game. Have fun playing.